a bunch of my friends have accomplished a lot more than I have, and like competing with other people because you want to be better than them. A hard pill to swallow, I do admit that. And I know being someone who posts videos on YouTube indicates that I may have some sort of self-confidence. And I was just so tired of like my own behavior. It almost seemed like childish to me. You have every right to do so, but you can also just live a life the way you want to. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Jini, and today I thought we'd do pottery together. Since I still had some air dried clay left, I thought we'd be doing that today and have a nice, relaxing and honest chat together. Without further ado, let's get started. So I've put my hair up just because I don't want it to get into the clay. So the first thing I wanted to talk about is feeling like you're falling behind in life. Come on! Okay, that's embarrassing. First thing I wanted to talk about is feeling like you're falling behind in life, and I think that's something I feel like a bunch of my friends have accomplished a lot more than I have. I don't know, I just feel like in your 20s, most of the people are like figuring out what they want to do with their life and they're just going their way, you know. I mean, I'm turning 26 this year, and while I don't think that's old, I still think that it's an age where you think that you may have accomplished something, or like your friends left and right are starting to accomplish like very big things in their lives and they're hitting milestones. And for me, I'm still studying, I'm not married. Maybe I can turn you guys down a little bit so you can see a little bit more. And I know that everyone is just going in their own pace. But sometimes, you know, it's just hard to resist comparing yourself to other people, especially if you're very close to these people. And just realizing that you're kind of jealous is like a hard pill to swallow. I do admit that. But I also feel like it's something that can push you further in life, because it's something that really makes you think about your own life, and it forces you almost fell down. And it forces you to be honest with yourself. But what's the best way to cope with jealousy? I don't have a universal recipe for that, unfortunately. But I do think it helps to just redirect your focus to yourself and to your own life, and to ask yourself, what is it that you can do for your life? Yeah, because I think that's what should matter the most to you. And I think if you manage to do that, that's where you can really transform jealousy into inspiration. And yeah, who wouldn't want that, right? Who enjoys being jealous of other people? I really think it's a thin line between pushing yourself to do better for your own and like competing with other people because you want to be better than them. Because in the latter scenario, you're focusing on another person's life yet again. I want to be honest, like for the most part in my life, I had this ongoing thought that if our world would be a movie, I would be a side character that nobody remembers really. Yeah, because I always thought I don't excel in anything. I don't have any accomplished achievements. And if I'm being honest, this hasn't really changed. But what has changed is that I've just come to terms with it. I've just accepted it, you know. I've understood that this world is like very large, and even if I may be irrelevant to the world as a whole, I am relevant to the people that are important to me, and yeah, that's enough. Yeah, and that, to be honest, wasn't always the case. I did have to work a lot on my self-confidence. And that brings me to the next topic I wanted to talk about, which is self-confidence. Maybe for jewelry or so, I think that would be really cute. Self-confidence. I have a lot to talk about. Yeah, so I'd love to like discuss this topic a little and also know your opinions in the comments. I think a big part of being self-confident just comes with growing up and just adulting, you know. But there's also a part of being self-confident that has to be worked for, if that makes sense. But that's why we're talking about it now. I feel like a big part of where my self-confidence came from is just also adulting. I got older and I just realized that life has so many facets and life is like so big and I'm comparably small, that just kind of brought me to like the realization that yeah, I can be confident because I'm very small in this whole world and nobody really pays attention to me, if that makes sense. And I know being someone who posts videos on YouTube indicates that I may have some sort of self-confidence. But you should have seen me like 1 year ago when I just started posting YouTube videos. I was like so self-conscious about almost everything and still am up till this day sometimes. But especially at the beginning when I was just starting to post, at one point I just grew so tired of my own self-conscious behavior that I just had to like let it go, you know, and I was just so tired of like my own behavior. It almost seemed like childish to me, and the thought of like nobody really caring about how you look like, how you sound like, or if you're being cringe or not, or if you're being awkward or not, really helped me to just overcome this first barrier, definitely. And yeah, and slowly my mindset just changed. Of course, there were a lot more factors and I'll come to that later. Yeah, I can really see the changes. I don't criticize myself as much anymore. I don't compare myself as much anymore. It has just become easier to walk through life. Yeah, these are things I'm definitely very grateful for nowadays, and I do think I've come a long way. So I picked out 3 things that helped me the most. I mean, there's like a bunch of things that can help, and there are a bunch of things that may affect you being self-confident or not, but I just picked out like 3 things that helped me the most and hope that they will help you as well. The first thing being really identifying where your lack of self-confidence may stem from, and also healing it, of course, and if necessary and possible, with a therapist. Just like I said, I don't think anyone is born just being self-conscious. It must come from somewhere. Maybe there was like a specific event in your past that led you to this way of thinking. Human beings are very complex and the tiniest thing can change the person. So it may help you to analyze very significant events in your past. And if that's a sensitive topic for you, or if you feel like a therapist could help you, definitely reach out to a therapist. I just want to clean up the edges with this little sponge if possible. And then I'll set it aside and let it dry. And the second thing is building evidence that prove your negative thoughts about yourself wrong. I'll explain. So what I mean by that is achieving like small accomplishments that challenge your negative thoughts. So just to give you like a very obvious example. Yeah, so for example, by posting videos of myself on YouTube, I challenge my fear of being perceived and also of being judged and criticized. And in that way, I can build small accomplishments like with every video I post, basically. And the third thing is like a very simple thing that I mention very often in my videos, but life is very short. I set my bowl to this side. I mean, what a waste to live that short life, being self-conscious all the time and worrying about things that in some cases aren't even true. Life can be fun and it's something to be celebrated. You have every right to do so. And I'm very well aware that that's something that's easier said than done. But if you think about it, it really is something that just gives you a broader perspective on life. You can live life being ashamed all the time and just trying to make yourself not be seen all the time. But you can also just live a life the way you want to, as long as you're not harming anyone, but I think that's a given. But that's enough for self-confidence for now. This brings me to the last topic I would like to talk about, and it's less serious. It's about hobbies and what to do if you have too many hobbies. Just like having too many hobbies and not being able to consistent with them. Of course, this is an absolutely privileged statement, I know that, but that doesn't mean that it cannot be talked about. But it's been on my mind for a while because I just think there are so many cool hobbies. I mean, like plants, crocheting, cooking, baking, reading, gaming, YouTube, and ballet. There's just so many things in life that I'd like to engage in. Yeah, and then it's hard to keep up, you know? I feel like I have phases where I engage more or like focus more on one hobby and neglect the others. And then I always feel like I'm falling behind in the other hobbies. It kind of gives me like a pressure, especially for things like studying Japanese, things where you really need to build on and be consistent with. But that's the point. Hobbies shouldn't like put extra pressure on yourself. They should take away the pressure and yeah, make you happy. If the current hobby makes you the happiest, then it's the best hobby to do for now, and the other hobbies you can still engage in when you're done with that phase. I think that's a beautiful thing. Hi guys, sorry, so my camera died, but in the meantime I've finished this little crochet project. This little project, which is like the Tamagotchi planet. I know it looks weird right now, but I think when I paint it looks better. It's a little bit lopsided as well. It looks a little bit scary though. This is supposed to be like a chicken with a leaf on top. It's looking okay. It's harder than I thought. So where did we leave off? I think I was talking about hobbies. Yeah, that's definitely not the purpose of hobbies, feeling like you're falling behind if you're not keeping up with the hobby. In my opinion, hobbies just shouldn't put that kind of pressure on yourself. They're there to bring you joy and to make you happy. This looks really strange, but I promise you it looks better once it's painted. So for now, I think my favorite hobbies are cooking, definitely, dancing, ballet, and also plants and also YouTube a lot. These are the hobbies I enjoy the most as from now, but it will probably change in a few months, but that's okay. I also wanted to talk about overconsumption, but I think if I start talking about that topic now, this video will get too long. So I wrap it up here. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, feel free to leave your thoughts in the comments. I always love to read your comments. I really appreciate it. I wish you a beautiful weekend. Take care, and I hope to see you next week. Bye!